Welcome to the Half a Day Show. I'm your host, Jay Half a Day, the flyest man on the internet. And today we are back with another episode of Behind the Brand. Joining us is brand strategist, entrepreneur. What else you do?
I'm an associate manager of events.
Associate manager, events curator, and community developer, PR professional, that girl. Please welcome Johana Supreme. How'd I do with that intro?
You did so good on that intro. Thank you.
I didn't even look at my notes. I'm proud of myself.
No, you did your big one. Thank you so much.
Johana, I am super excited to have you joining us today on the Half a Day Show. We're going to put a spotlight on you, your story, and we're going to go behind the brand.
Is this camera on me?
I hope so.
I have great admiration for people that are dot connectors that can, actualize concepts, create concepts. How would you characterize yourself personally? Are you more of a dot creator or a dot connector?
I'm definitely more of a dot connector.
Mm-hmm.
I pride myself on being able to find the silver thread between people, places, and things. Yeah.
That's a very media trained answer. I'm not gonna lie.
You think so?
I have that exact statement in
Yo,
my resume.
No, that's a very media trained. I'm not even media trained.
Yes, you are.
But I mean that. No, I
understand.
I mean both things. I definitely am a dot connector.
People, place, and things. Yeah.
People, place, and things.
I literally have it in my resume.
All of them.
It's important though.
Whatever.
Like facilitation, organization, all those things. Like you got to know which part of your mind you're very good at.
Yes.
Like I like those people that know how to move things around and get things done.
Yeah.
But I also love the people that know how to just come up with ideas.
That's amazing.
I feel like you have both.
Yeah. I would agree. I do have both. I think, I'm just more skilled in the connecting.
How do you feel about this? Do you feel like one is the interpretation of the other? Like how you connect dots is really just your way of showing how you create dots. What do you think of that?
Yes, I agree. You said it perfectly.
That makes sense.
Yes. And should I hire you? What's going on? No, 1,000%, because I have ideas. Everybody has ideas. I think my ideas can be pretty good. But I think I'm way better at showing what I'm good at by what you mentioned, just connecting the dots.
Yeah, this might be the dream team right here.
I know. I think it is.
We're going to make some
put money on it. Hello.
I have to. So when it comes to that creative process, what does it look like? Say you got a project or something, or you got like an assignment or a task. How do you go about approaching that process of creativity?
It's so interesting because I think my creativity is super sporadic and spontaneous. I can be inspired by random things. I could be inspired by the colors of a sunset. Like when it's happening, I'll take a picture and be like, wow, those colors look amazing together, whatever. Or I'm like a big quote person. Like if I read a book or I was speaking to someone and they said something that I was like, oh, you like turned on a light bulb in my mind, harboring that. So for like an analogy perspective, I would say it's like a squirrel harboring nuts. My subconscious is holding on to so many random things and has no idea how it's going to like be of relevance to me. But when the opportunity happens, I'll be like, you know what?
I could do that.
Yes. I remember this thing. And so I have some sort of process now where I'm like, I have a playlist that like gets me in a very creative groove, or like, I try to make space for myself of just like silence from time to time, where it's just like, just like sit, do nothing. Nothing's playing. Just finding what I need in order to get in the mood. But when it's approaching a project, I'm kind of like, okay, what's the goal? What are we trying to get out of this? Who do I need to find? What do I need to find? Who should I tap? It's kind of that.
That's fire. Y'all, we've been talking for maybe 10 minutes. This is one of my favorite creators now.
Really?
Seriously. You are one of my favorite creators.
That means so much.
Just listening to how you approach things and seeing what you do.
Thank you.
I understand why it is the way it is. It makes sense. Y'all tap in. Look.
That means so much.
That's your commercial break. But how long has it been like that? Have you always been this creative mind? Have you always like approached things in this way?
When I was younger, my creativity, I thought it needed to look a certain way. So I remember vividly being in art class and being like, bro, I'm not good at like whatever it is, like creating this thing, where I would try to draw every day. I swore being an artist was the thing, and it was not. I used to plan my birthdays,
Mhm.
like the themes of my birthday. Didn't ever really approach my parents on like, hey, this is what I want to do, but I would just plan it for the hell of it and just have fun. Or even just like reinvent my handwriting. I would look at a friend and be like, oh, your handwriting's so cool. I'm gonna do it.
That's different.
Really, really different. But I thought it needed to look a certain way. And then in 2019, I had an internship at Converse on their men's product line management team for their footwear. Ever since then, my creativity has never been the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you need to write a book.
I will. That's actually a part of my plan. Elaine Welter Roth has this really, really dope book. The name is beyond me at this point, but that's the type of book I would want to write. Like,
I'm gonna read it too.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. This is awesome. I'm excited now.
Yay.
Get through the rest of these
Me
questions.
too.
But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about like, some of your background and your culture and upbringing. I've had many first and second generation Americans on the show, and they all have like similar stories as far as like, oh, we're African, we're Caribbean. Parents are like, nope, doctor, engineer, lawyer,
Yep.
or else.
Yep.
But I decided to go do this. What was that like growing up? How did you go from, I don't know if that was the environment. What was your experience like, as a first generation, first
Sure.
generation American, Haitian American?
Yes, first generation Haitian American. It went exactly how you think it went. God is first, make good grades, behave, make your parents proud, don't make their sacrifice be for nothing. Yeah, that was really my life. I would say that it took a while for me to know what I wanted to do, but I knew that it wasn't what they thought it should be. It wasn't the doctor, lawyer, engineer, and I was very unwilling to even like try to pursue it.
Did it cause you a lot of like strife or conflict?
A lot of strife, a lot of conflict. I know and knew back then that what my parents wanted for me and my siblings and still want is stability, and to just be able to like be successful. And for them, success meant something specific.
Yeah.
Safe. Exactly.
Tested, sure.
Exactly. Like we have proof that this works is because we've done it. But I think what is so fortunate about being a first gen in a different country and environment is that you realize there's a jumping off point. Like whether your parents are able to accept it or not,
you got to.
They brought you here, and now when you're here, you have different options than what they had. So you can do what they're saying, and that's not necessarily wrong, or you can keep going.
Great stopping point because our cameras are hot. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you guys for that great commercial break. Keep telling us about your Haitian parents and family and what that was like.
I mean, hey, I'm the eldest daughter.
Of how many?
3. My younger sister didn't pull up till I was 10 though. So for a long time, it was just me and my older brother. And so really, I guess my transition into just being like, for a while, I was like, I'm really going to have to break everybody's heart and be like, I am not doing what you said I'm going to do or that you would want me to do. I'm doing something completely different. And I thought it was going to be like a solo mission. And then I don't know if this was his intention, but my brother did start out in pharmacy and he eventually switched his major to marketing. And when he did that, I watched my parents' heart break in half. And he survived and they survived and we kept it pushing. And then I was like, oh, I'm really doing whatever now. And it's not to say that he was, but it's just like, it'll be fine. It's okay to like, just choose yourself. And the rest was history.
Shout out to Big Bro.
Shout out to Big Bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how important is community to you? Like, community can include your friends, your family, people that you work with. How do you go about fostering and nurturing a healthy community?
Community is very important to me. Community is the reason why I exist. Truth be told, it's really important for me to foster community and foster relationships everywhere that I go because I'm just that type of person. Like I'm pretty social, but also if I find somebody that I connect with and I connect with on like a specific level, like it's forever for me. What is a challenge with that sometimes, and a conversation that I'm actively having with, my friends and my community is like, not everybody's your friend. And
Oh,
and I know that, and I go off of that, but even still, I can find myself in business, like expecting somebody to not do something or not show up a certain way because they know me. I know them. And it's like, nah, bro. No.
yeah.
You got to know your limits, your boundaries, your whatever.
Tough one.
It is, but I will say, regardless of all of that, yeah, I love community. It's so important to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I sneak a very subliminal question in there?
Sneak it in.
We have a nice logo here.
Yes.
Your cardigan. Not gonna butcher it. I've been practicing. I've been thinking about it for all day. Famille choisie.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about it. Why is that important, and how does it relate to community?
Famille Choisie is the creative agency that I'm building. What it stands for is chosen family in French. Essentially, I came up with the idea for this business in thinking about how everywhere that I've landed in life is because of somebody that is a family, a friend, not blood related, but like heard my plea to want to be somewhere else or do something else and connected me with the right person, saw something in me that was worth nurturing or mentoring in a very specific way, whether it was called that or not. Yeah, or just like leaving the door open or just being themselves in a way that was such an inspiration to me that I continued on where I was supposed to go. I say all that to say the business is to help others land their ideas, help others execute on their ideas. I've mentioned this before, and I'm mentioning it all the time to anyone that's willing to listen, that like as soon as someone mentions something to me, my brain's already rolling about like how I can help them. And so yeah, that's what the entire business model is.
You have a very nurturing spirit.
Do I?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Kind and welcoming. Like, what can I do for you? What can you do for me? Not transactional, well, but like just genuine. Like, you know what? I have these abilities. You have something you want to do. Let's see what we can do together.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's exactly it. Thank you.
And hearing you actually is actually so funny.
Mm.
And I just put this together. My father used to say something that's very close to famille choisie. You can't choose the family you're born with, but you can choose the family that you die with.
1,000%.
Right.
1,000%.
That's so important. And I just made that connection. I'm like, wow, everything really is on purpose.
Your father is a smart man. And that's exactly what I mean. It's just like, yeah, being able to identify those people that, yeah, are your family, that make up your family, that are your support system. That is, I owe all of you everything. Y'all know who you are. There's no questioning it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, Famille Choisie is just my way of continuing that for others.
Mm-hmm. And it's French.
It's French.
And I could take a tangent from there because you studied abroad in Paris.
I did study abroad in Paris.
What's that like? Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time. It was for 5 months, blew my mind. As you can imagine, nobody loves America. And in going there, I remember our advisor prepping us like, yo,
you're American.
You're American, first and foremost. Second, the way you look at your grades is not the way that your Parisian counterparts will look at their grades. Prepare yourself for that. And that was true. It was very interesting from a school perspective, but from a business perspective, what I learned was I thought it was super cool that I could go into a Zara and they would have clothes that like they don't have in the US. Okay, because of merchandising. I was like, woo, they do things so different over here in Europe. Like, this is cool. Or even finding out about retailers I was unaware of because, again, it's Europe. On the flip side, too, what was the other thing I wanted to touch on? Their breaks.
Like the midday breaks.
The midday breaks. Like, the restaurants are closing between 2 and 5 to, like, recoup, chill.
Whole country.
School breaks. Like, I was a nanny out there to, keep the funds rolling. And so it was interesting to see how many times, like, yeah, people were just off. And it made me realize, like, I could be a hustler, but still, like, relax.
Oh, I feel that way.
And I will be going back. I see
One thing
myself
I'm gonna
living there.
take a damn break.
Yo, okay? I'm gonna take a beat because you need to. That's the only way for you to, like,
Recharge and reset, realign.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, re-up, whatever you need. That break gonna get took.
Exactly.
So how is, how long were you over there?
5 months.
5 months. That's a long time. Goodness
Mhm.
gracious. How has that like shifted or changed your worldview and perspective?
Yeah, that same thing. There's a great duality to be seen there. It made me hyper aware of how, I don't know, what's the word? Americans are so, like, involved with self. Like, just things are just different across the world and globally, and just understanding, like, where you stand, or like what kind of some of your blocks are because of where you were born and where you came from. So it made me think of that. It totally opened my eyes to, like, new opportunities, new ways of living and working, as I mentioned. And it sat as a place of, like, I knew that I needed to leave Georgia in order to do fashion and come to New York. And then upon being in New York, I didn't know a next place, but I knew New York was not just going to be it. And going to Paris, I was like, ooh, we're happy here. We love it here. I can still do exactly what I do here over here. Yes, I'll be far from my family. Yes, it's a different time zone. But, like,
But
but but if it's about, like, your happiness and, like, I don't know, pushing the barrier of self-exploration, do it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, also in hearing you, like just the way that you tell stories, one thing that I pick up on is a great sense of, authenticity and genuineness. But that stems from a place of integrity.
Mm.
How important is personal integrity and brand integrity, and how do you retain both?
Ooh.
That was a loaded question.
Integrity is so important.
Mhm.
And also thanks for what you said about, the genuineness. Authenticity, just like, I don't know, what are your morals? What do you stand for? How do you make sure that you're always within those bounds and within what that looks like for you? Nobody else can determine what that is for both a brand and personally. I think for me, it's about aligning with others that share the same sort of outline.
Trajectory.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, not being very intentional about
Cool.
anything that feels like it's jeopardizing my own integrity or the integrity of where I'm at.
Does that conflict ever come up when you're like, seeking out new partnerships or brand initiatives?
It can.
Mhm.
It can. And I think it just begs a question of, like, yeah, what's the goal here? What are we getting out of this? Is it something that it can be compromised on? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
You
yeah.
you have to be able to determine
It's a
that
give
for
and take.
yourself. Yes, there's give and take. Is it mutually beneficial? Um, does this feel good? Does it make sense? Like, if it doesn't make sense, like, I have to ask myself certain questions. And if I get a no for any of them, not pushing forward.
The corporate space, you've worked for a bunch of different people. What has your experience been like working with, Brown Mill Company, UGG, or Deckers, Converse? Like, how is your approach different from, as you were saying, working with a small business or big business or what have you?
I've discovered a sort of, I won't call it an untapped lane, but, like, there's roots to both. Um, that not many people know how to travel, so to speak. A corporation loves to find something that they can, whether it's the culture or the community or the ideas or the art, off of a smaller business. That's the benefit for them. On the small business side, it's the clout, the notoriety, like the placement, whatever. And yeah, what I've learned is just, like, both of them have needs. How do you make sure, at least from my perspective in working for both, that, yeah, it remains mutually beneficial, and yeah, that it makes sense.
I think you're touching on the part of strategy as well, though. You're a brand strategist. What does that mean?
A brand strategist, it has so many different meanings and definitions based on the brand. Personally, what that means for me at Brown Mill is just being able to, one, have clarity about who we are as a brand and what we stand for, knowing where we want to go, outlining what those steps could potentially look like, and making sure that we stay within the bounds of those steps.
So, Brown Mill Company, UGG, what is different? What about your approach for working with each? What's something unique that you bring to each team?
For Brown Mill, I would say it's my foresight. Um, yeah, back to just understanding like where we are as a brand, where we want to go, what that looks like. I feel as if I have a great sense of this is the direction in which we should go. These are the opportunities that are aligning. We need to do them. And my team is really great at supporting me in that and trusting me in that, and I love it. I would say at UGG, it is my perspective.
Okay.
There,
I really like that answer.
yeah,
Tell us.
there's just a lot of space and room where it's like I'm one of the youngest on my team, and they're great at just being like, yo, your ear is the closest to the ground. What do you think about this? What is your opinion on this? Like, if it were you, whatever. And it's not something that I don't get credit for. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's very important.
Yeah, like it's just an appreciation. And I appreciate them back for, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can't say nothing negative about the UGG team. You got wonderful
Thank
across the
you.
bar. You
I
guys are
agree.
doing the damn thing. One of the brands that seems to have very strong brand and personal integrity as far as like their operations and innovation, like killing it.
Thank you.
Shout out to UGG. Man.
Okay, shut up.
But we're going to focus a little bit more on Brown Mill just for a second because, my whole thing is, Black owned businesses.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you come about working with them? And what's the importance of, Black owned businesses and how, yeah, we'll start there. I'll go to the next question after that.
I started working with Brown Mill in 2019. I was in Atlanta at the Atlanta Streetwear Market, and they had a booth, and we were chopping it up, and they were like, yeah, we're from Jersey. We go to Rutgers. I'm like, y'all go to Rutgers? Do you know so-and-so? They're like, how do you know so-and-so? I'm like, my best friend goes to Rutgers, Newark. I'm always there. And so we were kind of talking. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm in New York. I go to FIT for advertising, marketing, communications. I think I want to do PR, whatever. We table that. I hear a great piece of advice that's like, stop networking up and down, network across. I'm like, well, I've been thinking long and hard about this cool ass brand and how these dudes are my age and where they have a whole company. Like, let me go chat with them for real. And so I had a coffee date with Kwaku, one of the co-founders, and he was like, bring your resume, by the way. I've been meaning to reach out to you. I think nothing of it. I'm like, cool. We go to coffee. He tells me all about Brown Mill's story. I'm in awe. I'm like, wow, y'all are crazy in the best way. I see great things for this company. I want to be a part of it. And it's like, great. I'm glad you do, because you mentioned you were in PR. Go through your resume real quick. I go through my resume, and then he's like, yeah, so we need that. We don't have anybody that can do PR in the company. Like, people are reaching out to us to do pulls, all these things. And so I was like, oh, I'm definitely the girl for this. Mind you, I walk away shaking in my boots again, because I know I've just committed to something that I'm not really sure how to complete. And then from there, it started as PR, went into development, went into product development, flipped again into brand strategy.
You done did it all.
Did it all. What I love about that team is like, I could pull up one day and be like, hello, my new interest is this. And they'll be like, do it.
You got it.
Yeah, go off.
Is that your favorite thing about, all the work that you do? Being able to tap into different ideas that come in your mind or different, desires?
100%. The ceiling there is made of glass, and they're like, how, whatever you want to do, Joe, do it. And that's been what made me realize what I'm good at, because I've gotten to just take things off, put a new sense of self on and try it out and see if I'm feeling that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brown Mill.
Shout out to Brown Mill.
There's a lot of shout outs. We
That's it.
make up order or something. But But yeah, we're gonna before this other camera dies, we're gonna try and go fast on these last few
We can
questions.
do it.
I'm skipping a few ones. Maybe we can write like a blog or something. I don't know. Maybe seriously.
Yeah.
Um, but what is one thing that keeps you aligned on your creative journey? Like what's your North Star?
My why.
Mm-hmm.
My why is my North Star. Um, why I'm doing this, like what gets me really excited, what keeps me inspired. I think that's what keeps me on track.
I like that.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, we're going quick on these before we get to the last question, which is something that you want to touch on in depth. Um, what's a big misconception people have about, your career field?
I love that you asked that. I've been wanting to tell the masses um, that I have more power than I do. I am a small piece of a very large puzzle, everybody. Um, while I am grateful for the role that I play and for the fact that everybody thinks that I make all of the big decisions, I do not. um, I do not. But I would say another misconception is that it's just all fun and no work because it looks really good. But chances are, if it looks like it was that lit, blood, sweat, and tears went into that initiative.
Yeah.
There's a conception process that happens. There's a vetting, there's a finding the right partners, there's so many layers before what meets the eye. And so because of that, yeah, I just think it looks a lot more glamorous than it is.
Well, can we talk about like, the work in your work and in your career? Are there any challenges that you face as a woman working in PR, working in media?
Yes. And this is nothing about the companies that I work for. This is just general. It could be anything. It could just be like disrespect, not being taken serious, misogyny, racism, what have you. We're just being super aware of the opportunities that your white counterparts have over you, even in the space of funding and mentorship. The numbers do not lie there. I will say the landscape is a lot more diversified than it was when I went in 2016.
Nice.
I remember being like, oh, so my goal must be to be the best black woman in PR and whatever. And since that shifted and I'm not even in PR anymore, it is what it is. But I will say there's a lot more people to look up to than there was. But there's still so much more work to be done.
That's great. I think one of the small pieces of your comment right there was that the idea of being taken serious. I'm taking you serious, and I hope they take you serious. And this is a serious final question. What is your biggest dream, and how do you accomplish it?
My biggest dream is helping others reach their goals.
Mm-hmm.
How I accomplish it is really just taking a second, listening, seeing where I fit in, and identifying the next steps, like what I can do in order to help them get there.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's the shortest answer she gave. I'm not the shortest answer you gave. My goodness.
It is.
That was a horrible reaction. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we just told me your biggest dream.
You're like, that's it?
That's it? What?
No, that's
No.
it.
That's it. Try to save face here. But Johana, we had a lot of off-camera conversation. I will tell y'all again. This is my favorite interview of the year. Sorry to the rest of y'all. But if y'all heard the things that I hear too, hopefully you guys will have the same sentiment. Very super talented individual right here. This is a hardworking woman that knows what she's doing, knows what she wants, and knows how to get there for a lot of people. Very proud of you. First time meeting you. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
All your dreams, I see it coming. Even that. See all of it. I see all of it coming true for you. And we're ready to see it. But in the meantime, where can the folks find you and what do they got to look forward to?
Where can the folks find me? On all socials at Johana Supreme. It's different. You're getting a different version of me based on what social you get. So take that with a grain of salt. It's only fun and games on TikTok, period. What can y'all expect moving forward? We'll find out. I'm still finding out. But stay tuned.
Stay tuned. You gotta follow me back, by the way.
I didn't?
Nope.
Are you sure? If I didn't, I had every intention to and will immediately. Right now. I was sitting in the car on the way here and I was thinking about like, yeah, like
Who is this thing?
I know I followed him back like da 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 like so confidently. Let's prove you wrong.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Tell me to shut up, and I will.
I will.
But as always, this
Look. All right. So what am I talking about?
I'm talking. You ain't follow me.
I didn't. What is your handle?
Jay Hefferday.
Wait. I knew I hit something back. I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened. It's done. Okay. Whew.
It's a world record, folks. The first guest to appear without followed.
That's crazy. Cut the show.
All
Finish.
right. Look, as always, this has been an episode of the Half a Day Show, bringing you education, entertainment, and everything in between. See y'all next year. Peace.